From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Yeah, that's right. Welcome on into the show live here on YouTube, adapted into your Wednesday podcast. Thanks for joining us. We are powered by Zaxby's, indescribably good. The General's Out thing, it's a real thing, Corey. They got a nationwide campaign running on air. I need to hop on and try it out. You going to get bold and do the same?
Probably, man. Now that I know it's an actual thing, absolutely I will. I mean, look, I'm still going to get the Zax sauce because I'm not an idiot. But I'll have that to dabble in to see if it flames up my taste buds.
Okay, all right. We do work for Warchant.com. It is the ultimate Seminole sports source. Promo code is Warchant30. Use it. Try us out. I think you will like us. Getting the Instagram feed up and running right now. I'm trying to do that. Live on YouTube, thumbs up, please. Please, we'd appreciate it. And we're on Facebook, too. We do see your questions on Facebook. They probably just aren't that good, so that's why I don't take them. Corey, how you doing, though, otherwise, man? You're in Tallahassee, it looks like.
I did. I made it today. Made it back today. Yeah, man, there's a couple basketball games this week, we think, that might be going to the Civic Center to cover. With that, it's tough to see, I'll be honest. I'd rather watch it on TV because I can see the game a little bit better than I am now. But that's more my eyesight. It's not a terrible vantage point. It's just my eyesight's terrible. But otherwise, yeah, doing well, man. Looking forward to the supposed to have a day in the 60s here later this week. So I'm fired up about that.
Yeah, hopefully the sun will come out. It's been a few days in Tallahassee. It's messing with my mental health, man. It's not good. It's not good. Shout out to Pac-Man 352. Said
there it is.
Up. So I guess he's part of the tribe now. So welcome, Pac-Man 352. Welcome to the fam.
Enjoy the ride, Pac-Man. You're getting on at the bottom floor, and it's going to rise to new heights.
Buying at the dip. Buying at the dip, right? That's what it's all about. Buy at the
That's
dip.
Right.
We were up on Instagram, then we were down on Instagram. I'm going to try to get Instagram back up and running here shortly. Corey, what were your thoughts as we get to our callers here? 850-805-5911. Think Gator Kirk's already on deck. We do talk about Florida State on this show, but it's a little bit lean. Not too lean. They got another transfer commitment out of the portal, so that's pretty cool. Anything you want to talk about from last night's national championship game? Anything stand out to you? Are we close? Are we on the path? Are we on the scent?
You know, is there any chance at all?
Stop, Corey. I'm sorry. Shane Kirkley. Kirk Nolan in the house. We're already getting bound.
Dollar bills, y'all.
I can't believe it, man.
Dollar
200
bills,
American dollars from Kirk Nolan to start us off. Loving that transfer portal. Let's talk all about those new faces and who you're most excited about, not including McKenzie Milton. So maybe we should pause national championship talk and go
Apparently,
right to what people want.
Yeah, Shane, I appreciate the money and everything, but let me get back to my point. So, no, just kidding, buddy. Yeah, hey, whatever you want to do, I'll do a dance right now, like a full-on 1-minute choreographed dance for $200. That's incredible. Thank you very much. What a great start to the show.
Oh,
that's crazy. That's crazy. Thanks, Shane. We appreciate you, buddy. That's more than generous. That's incredible. Yeah, you know, I guess I'm going to go with not just because I matriculated at the same university up in beautiful Athens, Georgia, but Jermaine Johnson, I think, is the one other than McKenzie, because I think we all understand what a pass rush means to a defense, because we saw what not having one meant to a defense, and it was dreadful. Again, 9 sacks on the season, only 3 by defensive ends, and that was out of 1,200 total snaps. They got to the quarterback 3 times. So a little quick math for you guys. Every 400 snaps, Janarius Robinson would sack a quarterback. All the other snaps combined from all the other defensive ends, no quarterback sacks. So I like the fact that they have a guy that averages a sack a little bit more frequently. So I guess he's the one I'm probably most excited about, because I want to see what he looks like unleashed, because I watched him enough at Georgia to know, yeah, man, that guy's got some ability coming off the edge. So that I would say that's my guy that I'm most excited about, not including Milton.
I mean, that's the right answer. But I guess just in the spirit of diversity of thought, I guess Andrew Parchment.
Okay.
Although, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I'm coming against my my whole spiel about, I don't need a great wide receiver, have a great quarterback, and that takes care of everything. But I think it would have been awfully nice to have an engaged, active Tamorian Terry this past season. You didn't have that. So if you bring somebody that's kind of, I don't want to say close to, but just at least another weapon to give you some more options, because who knows how these now sophomores, or I guess freshmen 2.0 guys, how much they'll be able to grow. Hopefully you want to see enough to where they can start contributing, but a guy who's proven it makes you feel a little bit better maybe than what you have. Portier, Robinson, Williamson, those kind of guys. So offense is going to win you games. We saw that in the national title game. The offense is what led the way for Alabama this whole season. So the quicker Florida's they can get this offense, back to an elite level, maybe that can carry the defense for a little bit.
I was going to say, going back to Alabama real quick before we hit the phone lines, which I'm sure are hopping, is there any chance at all, and I know it's dumb to even suggest it, that Alabama takes a step back? I mean, at some point, they just lost. Waddle's gone too, right?
I would think so.
Yeah, so they're losing their quarterback, their running back, and their two best receivers, and everybody can say, well, yeah, but they did that last year. Well, yeah, they did, but they lost a lot of guys last year, but they also had the Heisman winner, the future Heisman winner coming back, and Waddle, and they had 3 finalists in the Heisman race. They're losing all of them, and their defense wasn't all that good anyway. So I wonder, maybe is there a chance they can take a step back to just a 10-win season and not a 13 or 14-win season. It's Nick Saban. So what are you going to do? Congratulations, SEC fans. You got another one.
Well, wasn't 19 their step back? They lost 2 games.
I guess, yeah. One to the national champion by like 6 points, right? They had 600 yards of offense, but think about that offense. We were texting about it last night. So the Alabama team that Florida State played in 2017 had now these guys were young, but it had Devontae Smith. It had Tua was on that team, right? Yeah, he had to have been. Tua was on that team. Harris was on that team. Josh Jacobs was on that team. The guys they lost last year, Ruggs, Judy, and then what's his name? Calvin Ridley.
Jacobs. Did you mention Josh Jacobs?
Josh Jacobs, and then also they had I think they had Minka on that team too. Come on now. I texted you last night. I know it's not boring to win with Saban, but this one in particular, because it was it was just because of offense. It wasn't like his great defensive genius was at play. He just had an incredible offense. And I wonder if that makes him – I wonder if he likes the direction that college football is going, even though he benefits more than anyone because he gets the best receivers every year. It's like my man I'm going to say it, Aslan. I texted to you last night. It's like rolling out there Roy Williams. Just get the best players and let them go play. Oh, by the way, go get a really good offensive coordinator that's been fired for this reason or that reason at the NFL level and bring him down to run your offense. And you can just do whatever you do on defense, and they'll average 48 points per game and win you another championship. Because now it's going to be Bill O'Brien, right?
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. It's almost to the point of absurdity. Just it's the same recipe. Get a guy that's awesome, pay him a ton of money to be your OC, go get the best players in the country at every position on offense, wind them up and let them go. But he gets them to play hard, and they're good. Great. Shane, appreciate the love, buddy. Sorry, I didn't mean to get a downer on the Alabama murder ball team. But it'll be the same next year.
Let's take a phone call, shall we? I think we are up now on Instagram. Who knows? Maybe a minute. Maybe 2, who knows how long it's going to work. It's not our fault, I assure you. We are top of the line here. I got 2 machines. My computers cost more than your house, as Ric Flair would probably say. All right, Kirk, Gator Kirk, that is, joining us from the 757. What's going on, man? How are you? Welcome to the show.
Let's go, gentlemen. Let's go.
Hey, man, we're here.
Wake Up Warchant at night.
Let's go.
For those of you that, I guess, worked in the graveyard shift. So... Hey, the portal's definitely our friend. Oh. Happy Bobby Bowden hiring day. 45 years ago today, they hired Bobby Bowden.
That's right.
So
turned out to be a good move.
Not bad.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out okay. It worked out.
Not great for West Virginia though.
We don't talk about that enough, right? Like West Virginia fans. How do West Virginia fans feel? How do you feel?
Not great. Not great. I would say it's a lot like being a Falcons fan and trading Brett Favre after a year.
Are they LSU fans in the 70s and 80s? Like LSU watching Saban do what he's doing? Is that like what West Virginia fans went through watching Bowden build FSU?
Except West Virginia never got the title out of Bowden. At least LSU got a title out of Saban. But yeah, probably similar.
Otherwise, what's going on, Gator?
At least he didn't bring that tradition of burning couches after any game to Tallahassee. So.
Correct.
I don't know. I'd have raged.
Things are good.
I would have raged. 20-year-old Aslan would have raged if Florida State gave me something to rage about, and I would have burnt the sofa.
But they do it. They're not raging. They're doing it out of celebration, right?
That's what I'm saying. I had rage.
Okay, I got you. Raging positively.
Yeah, on their front porch, like it's not going to spread to their house.
Well, what are you going to do? They're West Virginians, man. Give them a break.
Anyway, I know it's only 2 days into the winter workouts, but have you heard anything about how those are going, or do you have access to Storms and the nutritionist and all of that right at this point?
Well, Ira spoke to Josh Storms, I think, last week with the story up there.
Yeah, but no. To answer the question, no.
Yeah. Storms Beauty starts this week, though, I think. I think it starts Friday.
Oh, so it hasn't started yet. So no. What usually happens, G, is that they let us go out for 1 day. And you'll hear some whispers as it goes on about who's really in great shape, who's becoming a leader. If you care about that kind of stuff in January, I don't know how many people do. I think there's a subset of people that do, but we'll get to go out there 1 day probably. Well, I don't know. I don't even know if we'll get to do that. Even if we're masked up, we might not be able to do that. So typically we would go out there for 1 day, but I feel like in the next week or two, you'll start hearing some whispers or some things being said about people who are impressing. It's usually newcomers is what people talk about. It's like, this guy really fits in. He really busts his ass. Sorry, he busts his butt. He works hard. Those are the kind of things you hear. So, but no, as of right now, nothing.
Yeah, I think they started some conditioning today, and then on Fridays for a little bit, they're going to do their tour of duty. So I think they switched it up. I mean, I read the article, so I just didn't know how much access with COVID and everything, and it's, But do you know, maybe do the other coaches get to go watch them lift and things like that, like Dilly and Norvell, and just to see how they work, or do they just rely on what Storms and the other weight staff tell them?
Yeah, I don't think they're allowed to observe or do anything like that. I think this is strength coach season. This is all Storms and company. That's my
yeah. They'll get a report back from Storms, but they're not in there like overseeing it or going up to see if a guy maxes out or anything. I think Storms will just give them, I'm sure, a daily report on who met the mark, who didn't, who exceeded, who's looking, all that stuff. Storms will have their ear really for every day, but especially over the next few weeks and months, really.
I don't know. So Gator Kirk, how much are you going to buy? Are you going to buy the buzz in April, or are you going to wait till September?
The problem is I think we're going to be improved. I just looking at our schedule, I mean, 8 wins would probably be the max, so which would be a vast improvement. So I think it's going to matter on the field that we actually show the improvement, and the games that we're not really expected to win, that we compete. That's what I think is going to happen. If we get a full spring, a more traditional spring, I think we'll be competitive in a lot of those games. And maybe the Notre Dame game, because I know there's going to be errors in the first one. I think it's going to look a lot different. I think we got the players. I think the culture is going to change. I think the expectation is known now, and some of the other things that might drag that down are gone. But that's my belief.
There we go. We believe as well. All right, Gator Kirk from Virginia Beach, Virginia, calling us as he usually, quite literally, almost always does. Gator, we appreciate the phone call, man.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, thank you. Make sure you support all the things you normally support.
All right.
That Warchant does, and as always goes, Noles, y'all have a great evening. Thanks for everything you do. Keep up the great work. Keep grinding. Keep climbing.
That's right. All right, let's keep it on the phone call front here, Corey. Let's grab fan favorite Jay from Daytona Beach. thinks he wants to talk about the portal. He's a portal pioneer. He was on tables, jumping, dancing, yelling at us a year ago. Get in the portal. Get to the portal. Mike Norvell heard you. Here we are. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Living, man. Living. Are you living, Corey? You all right, Corey? You look distracted. Is everything all right?
No, I'm good. Sometimes we talk over each other and then it delayed the answer. So I just let you answer for both of us that time. But yes, Jay, I'm doing great, buddy. I'm doing great. I hope you are too. Next caller.
I think what happened with Corey was the same thing that happened with that payment he tried to process to Rambo. I think it froze him.
Oh.
So Miami was able to get, another one of our guys again.
Oh, no. I didn't even see that. So the guy from Oklahoma, the receiver from Oklahoma, is going to Miami?
Yep.
Come on.
Yep. Hey, you can't get them all, Jay. You can't get them all. That would have been a nice one, though. I'm not going to lie. That would have been a nice one.
You know what, Corey? I'm glad you said that, and I really don't have a question, but just more of a comment today. It's the same, man. Fit over fashion. You can have a name brand suit or whatever, but if it's baggy or doesn't fit properly, like, it really doesn't matter. So I think that's kind of what we got to look at with the transfer portal too, because to be honest with you, I look at some of these guys, and some of these guys have they have their high school grade, but then they have their transfer grade. So like Corey talks about, McKenzie Milton is the #1 quarterback in the transfer portal, but they also have DJ Matthews listed as the #1 receiver in the transfer portal. So with this staff, I know a couple of people were kind of like bummed out about the UCF cornerback, but I think these guys have to get guys that fit what they're doing. And we have to be able to, they're trying to anticipate, we lost about 5 DBs and we'll probably lose one more and one gets injured. So they have to, do things the way they're doing it in order for, us to not be in a similar predicament to last year. So.
Yeah, I don't think I get that people, when you see Norvell tweet about we got another one, you're probably hoping for an OT or maybe the Rambo kid or a linebacker. And then you see that it's a defensive back that hasn't played in 2 years. And you're like, oh, all right, I guess. But this guy was good the last year he played at UCF, which was, McKenzie Milton's last year. He tore his knee up in 19, and then he might have opted out in 2020. It didn't look like he played as far as I could tell. But either way, he was good when he played, and you just need bodies, man. You don't want to just take a body to take a body. This guy has played pretty well at that position, and you need help everywhere. And I think, Jay, doesn't it tell you that maybe they're not all that excited about the DBs they have coming back that they've worked with for a year? I mean, these coaches know better than us if these guys can play at the level they're asking them to play. And if you're taking now, is that 3 DBs they took? That's 3 defensive backs they've taken in this class or in this transfer class. That kind of tells you they know where a big hole is, and they're trying to fill it. And I just think, you hope that 2 of the 3, maybe all 3, end up being big time contributors. But I think you're taking a step up, man. I just think, I think both of these guys that they just got, Robinson and then the kid from UCF, I think, no offense to the kid, are better than the Raymond Woodies of the world. They just are. I think that, and you lost your best corner. You don't know if these other corners can play at the level you want them to. Bring in some help. Give yourself some competitive depth and see if you can find 4 or 5 guys in the secondary that can actually play. Plus, you got Miko Dotson coming back too, which is a nice benefit. So, yeah, we'll see, man. I like what he's done in the transfer portal. I don't think they're done. And man, don't you? Both of you guys, they're going to have. His roster is going to be almost complete. Like what? He'll have put 50 new guys on this roster in a year and a half, right? Isn't that about right? I mean, they're going to end up probably with 10 or so transfers to go along with the 4 they got last year. So you're talking in the span of 2 years, he's put up. That's quick math. That's like 20% of your team is transfers. So and plus the guys he's brought in from the recruiting ranks. So I mean the high school ranks. I think they're going to be. And it's a little bit of addition by subtraction. I keep saying that, but I just think overall they did pretty darn well in the transfer portal, and they're not done. Jay, do you like what they've done in the transfer portal?
Last year I said we were getting the clearance rack players, but this year I think we've upgraded a little bit to maybe Black Friday. They are doing better, and I do think they know what they're doing, and they had to get 3 DBs because we lost Nas Asante, we lost Woody, and we lost the kid from Mainland, and then you got to think about injuries too. So they had to get at least one more guy before the drop period, just in case they wanted to count it, as an early enrollee. So I think they know what they're doing. We're still not getting the top-notch guys we want, but I think it's a step in the right direction. It's better than it was last year.
Agreed. And again, you're throwing some bodies at the problem, hoping that you find one, hopefully all 3, but at least 2 of these guys contributed at a high enough level for you to have a competent defense. But yeah, they lost. It was a terrible secondary, and they lost their best player out of it. 2, if you count Nasruddin, their 2 best players, although he barely played. So yeah, man, it was a huge issue of need. I still think another pass rusher would be great. A linebacker would be huge, but you get what you can get. Like, I think there might be a thought process among some people that, man, why did they take this DB when they need an offensive tackle more? Well, it's like, I don't think they're telling a really good offensive tackle, sorry, man, this UCF corner just came on the market and he's taking your spot. They're not doing that. They're gonna have a spot for a dude that can really help. They got irons in the fire. This was a guy that was a take for them. And so I think, yeah, like you said, they know what they're doing, and they certainly, the one thing you can say about this year is they saw firsthand where they need, what holes they have and the needs they have, and they're addressing them. We'll see what it looks like in 2021, but they're addressing them as best they can with guys that should be able to help immediately.
Boom,
yeah, they just got to get they're going to get the right offensive tackle. So once again, guys, fit over fashion and go Noles.
All right.
Thanks, Jay.
Jay from Daytona Beach talking about the portal. If we all would have listened to me a year ago, where we could have been. Let's keep it rolling. Let's
thank you, Drew, by the way.
Yeah, shout out Drew Singletary. That's Mr. Clutch, by the way. He's known as Mr. Clutch 1992 on the Twitter machine. Show respect, Corey.
And he's about Damori Tate as well. Damori Tate's another guy that I'm really interested in seeing what that looks like, because he's supposed to be he just didn't get to play this year, but he was their highest recruit in Norvell's first recruiting class. So we'll get to see what he looks like too. It's gonna be a whole new roster. I mean, it really feels like that, especially on that side of the ball. It's going to be almost an entire new roster, it feels like.
I mean, like, what a late Christmas gift for Adam Fuller. Like, we're going to keep you here. You're going to keep making $800,000, and we're going to surround you with better weapons. Like, imagine, I don't know, your first month of Warchant, like you miss a deadline, you have all these typos in your reports, you miss a live chat, Corey, and then Gene's like, hey man, it's all good. We're gonna get you an iPhone and an iWatch. That way it buzzes and lets you know when you got to wake up and be places. We're gonna have an intern that's gonna edit all your stuff for you before you give it to Ira for the second. Like, it's incredible. Like, Adam Fuller living the dream. Talk about failing forward.
All right, well, let's not go crazy now. Let's see. He's still the DC at Florida State.
I mean, golly, he kept his job and he's getting. It's amazing. It's amazing. Hey, before we actually say who this is, let's go ahead and pop their name on the screen and fire off some freaking cannons. It's Mark Adamczyk. It's Mark from Naples. He already threw $50 at us. He's been waiting for 15 minutes. So go ahead and talk, Mark. Welcome to the program, bud.
Wake up.
That's right.
Let's go. Trying to bring some of that Gator Kirk energy.
That's right. Right.
Well, if you feel like answering my question on YouTube, that's fine. I just, I would like to see you guys call a game together. I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I'd have to do, although Corey talks more than I do, I'd have to do play-by-play. I think, Corey, you're better at flourishing and adding context to what we've just seen.
I would love to do one but on an R-rated one where I can, what the bleep was that? That's the dumbest blink I've ever seen. Like, that's how Aslan sat next to me at games before. That's kind of the experience of Corey Clark commenting on a football game. I mean, I'm not cursing every other word, but occasionally one might drop out of my mouth. So I'd like to be able to be unfiltered during that. But yeah, I think I agree with Aslan. I think he's the play-by-play guy. I talk too much. I like to give too many opinions.
You are looking live.
Yeah, that's kind of how I called it as well. I think that'd be a good 1-2 punch. So I was going to ask a portal question, but you basically answered a lot of my questions. And I was going to point out to the fact that we added a lot on the D line, DB, and not so much at offensive line. But like Corey said, you're going to get the best available guys out there. I mean, if the kid from Memphis that just went into the portal that you talked about on, I think, the Happy Hour show, if he's available and interested, of course they're going to add him. But, you got to get the best available guys out there.
Did you guys see? I hate to interrupt, Mark, but did you guys see Memphis just had another guy enter the portal maybe an hour and a half ago, who's had a really pretty distinguished career there? But he is a DB. He was one of their best players on defense this season, the last couple of seasons actually. But he's a defensive back, and again, you've already taken 3. So would you go if there's some connection there? Maybe wants to go play with Adam Fuller. All he knows is winning championships with Adam Fuller. So maybe he wants to come play for Adam Fuller. Well, now that would be a 4th DB you've taken as a transfer, which I feel like the guys on the depth chart, the current guys at Florida State, would be like, all right, man, we get the message. I get it. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get stronger. I promise. I'm going to work to improve. But that's a question I have for you guys. Would you take him? You don't have that many dudes left, and I don't even know if they're interested. But this is a guy that's played a long time, a lot of games. As Aslan's showing right now, DB TJ Carter, he was a 4-star in 17, 187 tackles, 6 interceptions, 33 passes defended during his Memphis career. That's a lot of football. And he was a pretty big-time recruit coming out that Norvell signed. So would you take him, giving him my answer is if he's – depending on what they know they have, my answer would be absolutely you do, because he might be the best of the bunch for all we know. But I was wondering what you guys thought. Would you take another DB, even if he's one that's that highly acclaimed, when you still have some other spots you'd like to fill?
Yeah. If you're not going to get rid of this, if you're not changing your scheme, if you're going to keep your chef the same, you need different ingredients. So bring him on. If he's right fit over fashion, as Jay astutely said. The other kid, Ezzy, the one that went to TCU, the offensive lineman, he's also from Nashville too. Some of the Memphis fans are a little bit sour on these prospects they got from Nashville. It was a big deal. They got these 2 4-stars from Nashville, but both of them have now left. And but yeah, I don't know. I guess that comes to the whole fit family thing. I hated the whole in Jimbo we trust stuff that happened. Like it was like 2011. We lost 3 games in a row. We lost to Wake. Don't tell me to trust in Jimbo. Although they proved to be on the right path of these things. I'll give Norvell the benefit of the doubt on letting that kid go to TCU. And if he doesn't go after this kid, I would think it's not going to be because of a numbers crunch. It would be because it just doesn't like the kid's game or maybe what he brings to a locker room.
Your turn, Mark.
So the only other question I had watching the game last night, I couldn't help but think, and you don't have to give a long answer to this, just kind of like a quick reaction. I couldn't help but think, okay, if our 2013 squad was playing the Alabama squad last night, because there was some posts on that on the Tribal Council, like assuming Alabama wasn't allowed to steal signs, how do you think that game comes out? I mean, I think it'd be a great battle.
Look, it's going to be hard, and I know how all the records that Alabama set. It's going to be hard for me to ever have a game where I would pick against that Florida State team, and that even goes to LSU last year. As great as that offense was, that Florida State defense would have been by far the best they faced. Again, you're talking about NFL defense, literally like 11 guys that played in the NFL. A lot of them are still playing in the NFL, and well coached too, and would have had a month to prepare. Not a mobile quarterback. In Burrow, I mean, he could run, but that wasn't his thing, like Marshall. But anyway, so yes, I would just have a hard time picking Mac Jones to beat Jameis Winston. I just would. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen. Mac Jones had a great year and is a good quarterback. And I imagine Devontae. I don't know who was the best receiver in the NFL in 2013. I can't remember off the top of my head. Maybe Julio. Julio, let's say Julio 2013.
Antonio Brown, maybe.
Or Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown's probably a better comparison because of the size. I don't think Antonio Brown could have had 11 catches for 213 yards and a half against that Florida State defense. I don't know that he would add 11 catches for the game, not for 200 yards anyway. I mean, you're talking about Darby, Ramsey, Joyner. These guys are still PJ Williams. They're all still in the league. So yeah, I would pick Florida State. But man, that Alabama offense was really, really good. I just think the main reason is because the Alabama defense wasn't very good. I would go when it's a game like that. I choose the team with the better defense, and I choose the team with the better quarterback. And I think Florida State had both in that matchup. So that's why I would go with Florida State. But it's one of those unknowables, so you can't prove me wrong. So I feel good in my opinion.
Yeah.
Aslan, what about you?
Yeah, everything you said. I just think defensively, Florida State a little bit better than everybody else.
Yep.
And I don't know. We saw what LSU was last year. I don't know why everybody's in such a rush to then throw Alabama in the mix. It's like
it'll be the same thing next year.
Yeah, look, there's a pattern kind of evolving here, so we need to be a little bit more nuanced.
Did you see the stat that the guy tweeted about that? Like, Mac Jones broke the passing efficiency record in college football all time that was held by Joe Burrow. He broke Kyler Murray's. Kyler Murray broke Baker Mayfield's, and Baker Mayfield broke his own. Like the last 5 best passing efficiency years in the country were all done back to back to back to back to back. That's just football now. So yeah, So it's the way the sport is now. Next year there'll be some incredible offense that puts up a ton of yards and is unguardable. I think Florida State's defense against that offense would have gotten enough stops. Pruitt's a very good coordinator, especially when he's got groceries to cook with. And I think they would have, held him to 35. And then that Alabama defense was not going to hold Florida State under 35. So that's my reasoning.
That's right. All right, Mark. We appreciate the call, man.
Amen. All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate all you do, and keep bringing it. And go Noles. Have a great evening. Thank you so much.
That's right.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, buddy. Thank you for the donation. Tip. Thank you for the tip donation. It's very, very nice, man.
Speaking of Bama, let's go to the Pratt. Let's go to the home of the Lions, Prattville High School, Prattville, Alabama. We got a caller on the line wants to speak about the portal. Wouldn't you know it? Welcome into the show, Jimmy. How are you?
Wake up, guys. What's going on? How you doing, Corey?
What's up, buddy? How you, buddy?
And, just living in the middle of Alabama, dealing with all these Bammers up here. They said
that's tough. Hey, at least you're not an Auburn fan, right? Like Aslan pointed that out yesterday. Like, how terrible must life be for an Auburn fan that's their arch rival, as we all know. For your arch rival to have a run like this must be an all-time bummer.
But and then Gus Malzahn actually had success against
yeah, more than anybody else for sure. Yeah,
he kept getting extensions.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly right.
It's like my Auburn friends have been wanting to fire him for years, but then he keeps beating Alabama.
Yeah, Saban kept letting him keep his job. It was like Bobby when he kept keeping Tommy around at Clemson. He'd lose to him every now and again just so Tommy would keep his job.
Exactly. Aslan, how'd you know Pratt was the Lions?
I worked in Alabama for a year, man. I know these things. Plus,
you said you was in Dothan, right?
Yeah. Plus, remember Bobby Greenwood? I think he was a defensive lineman that Florida State was recruiting, and he ended up going to Alabama. He was from Prattville.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And then Justin Shanks. A couple years ago.
The great Justin Shanks.
And Prattville played it. Yeah, big Justin Shanks, 92. That's my boy.
Yeah, Justin Shanks abandoned me at a bar in Tallahassee a few years ago. Shout out.
Nice.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't wait to tell him about that.
Anyhow, what's on your mind, Jimmy? You want to talk about offensive linemen in the portal?
Yeah. Obviously, the kid from Charlotte hit the portal. The kid from Memphis hit the portal. Then the kid from Tennessee. And the kid from Tennessee, he's a 4-star. Oh, my God. But are we not like – are we thinking we need a big splash? Or are we thinking just get anybody? Because, you would seem like we just need anybody the way some of these guys are playing. But I guess they do like, the younger guys, Scott and those guys. So I'm just wondering why, are we just not liking the tackle prospects, or are they just not liking us?
I think it's the latter. I don't think Florida State's saying no to anyone like that. I think they had their own reasons for going to the other places. I don't think that it's been a great year in the portal. What a weird way to talk about college football now. It's a down year in the portal for offensive tackles, but that's the reality of it. It doesn't.
It's not a good free agent class of wide receivers.
Yeah, it's top heavy, but in the portal with offensive linemen. But I do think that there hasn't been a ton of great options at offensive tackle. But I certainly don't think they're just like. I think if there was somebody that was interested in them that they think could fill a role to compete for a starting spot. Again, they like their guys. They do like their younger guys, but you're not going to turn away. You're certainly not going to turn away that dude from Memphis. That wasn't something that guy just didn't want to come. But I don't think they're turning away big time guys. It's just it hadn't worked out. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes there's only been maybe there's only been 4 or 5 in the whole portal that they were interested in enough to offer. And they didn't hit on them, but that's going to happen. You're not going to get everybody you want. You just hope. I mean, we're still, what are we, January 12th? So the season starts in 9 months, essentially. There's 8 months, I guess. There's going to be plenty of time to find another one, you hope. I do think if they have somebody in mind, they will keep a spot open or figure out a way to finagle this roster that if a big time or even a pretty big time, like not a 5-star, but a 3.5, 4-star guy that's got experience becomes available, they will have a spot for him. They are not going to box themselves out of getting an offensive tackle if one becomes available, is my opinion.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing with our numbers getting, kind of running out of numbers here. And, you said, like a guy could leave after the spring or, in the summer. And here we are, they'll fill our rosters up with, 6 DBs and stuff in the transfer portal. I hope that we, like you said, we'll make room, I guess, right?
Yeah, it would be really bad. It would be a really bad sign if somehow, like in June, we hear that this SEC lineman that just wanted to get closer to home wanted to come back to Florida State, but they didn't have room for him because they took a DB. I don't foresee that being an issue with these guys. I do trust that they know what holes, they know how they're approaching this, and they have, I'm sure, their big board, and they have a spot open on offensive line if one becomes available. I just think he's too bright a guy. It's too bright of a coaching staff. Atkins is too bright a dude to just stand pat and say, no, we don't want anyone, get another DB. I think they really do want at least one more offensive lineman. And maybe they strike, I don't know, would you say they struck gold with Devontae Love-Taylor? They at least struck like bronze.
Dude, he's going to start at a tackle spot for them, and he's going to do a good job.
Yeah, I mean, he's not a first-round pick, though. I guess but semantics. They struck some sort of gem with Devontae Love-Taylor.
There's no Landon Dickerson.
No, he's not. He is not.
Oh, my God, don't even.
Hey, you know what? He's still got a year of eligibility left, Jimmy.
Crazy.
And it's not that crazy, Jimmy. He's good. He was good. They had him playing left tackle.
Yeah, he was a great center.
Bigger he is.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a whole nother podcast. That's a whole nother discussion.
Florida State and the weight program at Alabama.
Yeah. It's somebody sent me a picture yesterday of Twitter of him on Dickerson at Florida State and what he looked like. And it's like, good grief, man. And now it looks like this Landon Dickerson ate that Landon Dickerson. That's how much bigger he looks. But hey, look, Jimmy, he's still got a year of eligibility left. He might transfer on back. He might like what Coach Atkins. He might put himself in the portal.
Oh God! Come on back home.
Come on back, Landon. Come on, buddy.
All right, Jimmy, we got to keep this thing rolling, man. We appreciate the phone call.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, Ian Zaxby's Go Noles and a 5-star review on Warchant.
That's right, man. We appreciate you, man. Jimmy from Prattville calling us. Wondering why there's no offensive lineman transfers yet for Florida State. To your point as well, too, Corey, it's not. These are not mutually exclusive things. It's not either the defensive back or the offensive line.
Yeah, it's not like Atkins comes to him and Woodson comes to him to Norvell, and Norvell's like, you know what? Shut up, Alex. Tell me more about that DB. I want to hear more. Yeah, I know he's a guy that can start from day one at left tackle. I get it. I want to hear more about this DB. Look, he knows where the holes are. He knows what needs to be filled. Hopefully a linebacker comes around that they can pursue as well, because I still think defensive end, getting another pass rusher, however you got to do it, is probably priority number one for me. Having one on the roster ain't enough. So you've got to you need more than one. And then after that, I would say offensive line and linebacker are tied. Because they are young at offensive line and they did get better. Yeah. They're young at linebacker and they didn't look good at all. So that's a hole there too that they need to probably fill. But you can only they're going to get 10 transfers. What a day! What a day! What an era!
I got no problem with the portal, man. I love it. I like it.
Program saver, the portal.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing too. It's the portal giveth, the portal taketh away. Man, you build your program good enough. When guys transfer out, you're probably not going to care. That happened in 14 and 15 and 16. Guys would leave, and you're like, whatever, man. I'm
not going to try to badmouth the guys that were here, but have any of the guys that hit the portal that went elsewhere, do you feel bad about? The only one I think you could say is Durden, if he plays like 2019 Durden. Yeah. But if it's 2020 Durden, you're not missing that anyway. Yeah. So they've really, when you talk about who's left and who's come, they're worlds better than they were.
Speaking of people leaving in the portal, Mr. Clutch is back. Drew dropping $24.99. Appreciate you, Drew. Get a little bit of this.
Dollar bills, y'all.
That's a lot louder than it used to be. I'm sorry, but I thought I turned this stuff down a notch. Anywho, he does ask us, Drew, if you were Norvell, how do you address the finger wagging, incomplete signs, etc.? Would be the first thing I bring up in my team meetings.
You're not going to ask that second part?
He asked which quarterback's going to transfer first.
I would say yes. I would say that his answer.
Tate Rodemaker, he said that
seems probably the best one. Great hashtag too. Zaxby's for life. That would be mine. Would be Tate, but who knows, man? It's hard to even speculate on stuff like that.
This is what I would do, Corey. I would play Nick Saban's interview with Scott Van Pelt after the national championship game. Scott Van Pelt asked him, you've won so much, you've won so long. How do you find the hunger, the drive to maintain and keep doing this? And the first thing that Nick Saban said was, well, because I hate losing. Like more than I hate losing. So if I was Mike Norvell, I would get up in front of everybody. I'd like call out, like everybody break out to your segment groups. DBs stay. DBs stay. You all stay. I mean, listen, I hate losing. There's nothing I hate more than losing, other than looking like a clown. And then I'd hit a button and the screen would come down behind me and it would just play clip after clip of guys with like the scoreboard really blown up huge on the screen. So you could see how bad Florida State was losing. You did this while we were losing 30 points. You over there, you tweeted this. You tweeted this in a game that we lost in some sort of year retrospective highlight that you put on your Twitter to get some likes. Knock it off. It's not going to work. I got 10 guys in the portal coming here. They're going to take your seat. That's what I would do.
Yeah, man. That would get the message across for sure. Look, and it's not like I don't mind finger wags when you make a good play even. I mean, I mind it. Score dictates how you celebrate, I think. Should always. It's like somebody, Brady was playing. I always bring it back to Brady. Brady was playing in a game where his team was losing by a wide margin. And the best player on Brady's team hit a 3-pointer to cut the lead to, 16. And then he took an arrow out of the bag and shot it up in the air, running down court as they're getting crushed. And I'm like, well, he's 12. And by the way, they came back and actually took the lead, lost in the last second. Heartbreaker. But I get why a 12-year-old wouldn't really appreciate time and score and awareness. But 20-year-olds should understand that maybe when you're down 52-10, you don't need to celebrate an incomplete pass. More than anything, don't celebrate a play you had nothing to do with. Celebrate, be positive when you go make a play. But when some dude drops a pass, just go back to the line of scrimmage and get the signal. Don't sit there and do this. We all saw it. You're not fooling us. We know you didn't make a play. And I'm all about, man, I think they should, especially this year in a COVID year, college football players should have been able to do long choreographed dances after every touchdown. Like literally the 1 year you could have let them, you could high step from the 40 if you wanted to and not be a penalty. They should have let them do whatever they wanted to do. But man, it rubs fans the wrong way. I know it rubs coaches the wrong way to see you get up and do a finger wag when you're getting beat by 40 points. It just makes you eminently unlikable. And you're probably a very likable kid. So celebrate good plays that help your team win. or at least give your team a chance to win. And maybe don't celebrate so vociferously plays when you're down by 45 points. That's all. That's all. But yes, I would bring that up. But you hope you don't have to, right? You hope maybe something changes.
I don't want to dive too much into it, and maybe it's Jay's whole lack of situational awareness. I cannot imagine as a competitor playing at such a high level and getting just in losing, embarrassing fashion losing, and then celebrating somehow. I can't. I really can't. And this is not a generational thing. Yeah. This is because we see other teams doing great things. Devontae Smith catches a 40-yard pass and zigzags. He just flips the ball. He lines back up and he wants to keep going. Then there's a certain kind of attitude that's permeated a lot of 7-on-7 culture and kids playing football these days, but it's not everywhere. And I just don't know how much of that is something that's kind of learned. And I don't know how much of that you can coach out of guys, or maybe just you stop recruiting those players. And I would think you would know what kind of guys do that by talking to them, talking to their coaches, talking to their families, and recruiting them. But man, if we're going to go 7-5 for the next 2 years, man, I want to do 7-5 with kids that are just going to line up and play and shut up. I'm done. I'm over it, man.
Well, look, I don't have it. I'm not all about just flipping the ball to the ref. If you score a touchdown that gives your team a win or gets you back in the game and you're excited, be excited.
Yeah, I mean, he does this whole windmill celebration. He gets down.
Yeah, and Norvell gets excited. Yeah, Jimbo would get excited. I mean, I don't have any problem with getting excited. Just get excited for the right reasons. It would be. I mean, that's all. And I wonder if I could if we ever get to hang out with people again, if I was having a beer with Norvell and I asked him about that notorious Raymond Woody finger wag, I'd love to know what he thought about it. Just me and him talking, what he thought about it in the moment, what he thought about it afterwards when he watched it on film. I would just love to. And is that why maybe 31 didn't play as much the rest of the season? Because I think that struck a chord with an entire fan base about what one of the things that needs to be fixed with this program.
I can't understand how you would celebrate when you're losing and when you don't even make the big play. Like it's stolen valor. It's
yeah. I got you, buddy.
I'm over it. All right. We got a caller, but we're going to make you wait for another minute. I'm sorry. They've been waiting for a while. It's Wes in the Villages. I do hear you, buddy, but we got people throwing American dollars at us that want questions answered. So sometimes things got to be superseded in front of the other. Khalil Young's in the house. Make some noise for Khalil, everybody. Look at that.
Straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie.
50 American. Thank you, Khalil.
Khalil, you're the best, man. That's awesome. Thank you very much. I shouldn't say that. I keep calling everybody the best. You're one of the best.
I'm going to call Khalil retro. Like, all Khalil's questions are like, who are these four guys who used to play? Rank them in order.
I'm all about that life, man. It's much more fun to talk about that 13 team than the 20 team. I'm all about that life, man. If y'all just want to pepper me with 13 or 99 questions, I'll do 4 hours of that.
All right. So Khalil says, where do you rank the 2013 defense amongst other great FSU defenses? Even more specifically, the secondary: Joyner, Ramsey, Darby, Terrence Brooks, PJ, Nate Andrews. Sorry. And is that offense the best we've ever had? Corey, this is all you.
Look, I think that offense, I think you could make an argument it's the best anyone's ever had. And I don't say that lightly. I've been paying attention to college football. I saw what LSU did. Joe Burrow threw for, I think it was 60 touchdowns that guy accounted for. It's nuts. But the difference is Florida State was one of the slowest offenses in the country. Jimbo wasn't a hurry up, let's snap it 115 times a game, and we'll just wear you down and score. Like that offense would only play 2.5 quarters, and it would do it at a pretty slow pace and still score almost every drive. It was just an incredibly efficient machine. And I think is one of the best that's ever look, you're going to look at the talent at LSU. I mean, they had a Heisman winner, 3 first-round receivers, a first-rounder at running back. The talent was better at LSU. The talent was probably better it was better at Alabama last year. But no offense has run at a more efficient peak pace than Florida State 2013. That team scored 94 touchdowns. 94. I don't know that Florida State scored 94 since. They scored 94 in one season. So I think that offense is the best that Florida State's ever had and one of the very, very best in college football history. As far as the defense, the 13 defense is up there. I'm partial to the 2000 defense, I think 98 and 2000 are probably the two best defenses Florida State's ever had. But 13 is right there with it. That 98 defense was spectacular. I mean, they almost won a national championship with Marcus Outson at quarterback. But they beat a really good Florida team, held them to, I think, like 1 first down in the second half, and then almost beat Tennessee. Tennessee, one of their touchdowns in that game was a pick six. Like Tennessee, which won the national championship, scored like 16 points against that defense. So I would say the 98 and 2000 defenses are right there. Again, the 2000 defense gave up 13 points in a national championship game. And then 2013, I'd rank probably a little bit behind that. The 13 defense, the one weakness that it had, it wasn't a weakness at all, really. Who could have a weakness? Is they didn't have an exceptional defensive end pass rusher. Mario Edwards was a very good defensive end, but he wasn't like a sack master. 98 and 2000 had, in my opinion, guys that could come off the edge maybe a little quicker and affect the quarterback more. But Mario Edwards was very, very good. So, yeah, those are my rankings. Look at that. Look at that. Even now. And look at all – I just want you all to – so Aslan has it up for the podcast listeners. He's got the top, I don't know, what is that, 10 or 12 offenses of all time and points scored. LSU broke the record. They had 726 points scored, I think in one extra game, if I'm not mistaken. I could be – yeah, because they played an extra playoff game. So they did it in one extra game. But also, you look at Oklahoma in 08, Houston, Clemson, Ohio State in 19, Hawaii. All those teams were fast-paced, snap it with 30 on the play clock. This team was a snail's pace and still went right down the field like it was Army in 1944. Just an incredibly efficient offense. To score that many points at that pace is unheard of. It will never be done again. So I'm going back to it, Aslan. I'm going to say that's the best offense I've ever seen.
I'm with it again. It's
different though. It's apples and oranges, right?
If the quarterback was doing well in the NFL, I think it would for whatever reason it would affect the way that we talk about that team. But I think
or if Rashad Green had made an impact like I thought he would at that level, it shouldn't, and it really shouldn't. Like people think the '95 Nebraska team is still the best college football team of all time, and it had like 7 NFL players. So it wasn't. A lot of it is just the production at the college level, and I just watching that college offense do what it did to everyone, except when somebody apparently was stealing signs. Do what it did to everyone. It was just a machine, an utter machine that obliterated everything in its path. It was
beautiful. It was beautiful, and it was ours. It belonged to us. It was amazing. Redbeard in the house, $50 thrown our way.
Redbeard.
I'm rich. Big smashing, making my ends.
Hey Corey, fun fact. Redbeard says, Redbeard, thank you very much. $50, man. It's no small tip, man. We do appreciate it. Thanks so much. Redbeard says, Corey, fun fact, we've added over 8,000 snaps of collegiate football experience with all these portal acquisitions. Go Noles.
I mean, that's not bad. And they're not, again, it's one thing if you're adding 8,000 snaps of like bad football experience. But these guys have been good where they've been. I think the one guy, again, I'm going to keep bringing it up, the Arkansas is the one guy that you're like, okay, he hasn't excelled at the college level necessarily, but he started against the best receivers known to man for the last 2 years and is still playing football. So he didn't get that, he's still a competitor, I guess. And we don't know what his role will be on this team. But other than that, and I think he'll contribute, but other than that, yeah, you're getting experience, winning experience, good experience. And that can't be overstated how important that is. They were the youngest team in the country last year. Again, I don't think that can be overstated either. I really understood what it's like when all your snaps are coming from guys that have never played meaningful snaps at the college level. And not all of them, but a good bit of them. And that even includes your quarterback. Even once Blackman was gone, every quarterback that took a rep was a guy that had never really done it before. Jordan Travis hadn't played the position much at all in college, even though he was a redshirt sophomore. So that experience, man, that can only help. It only helps. It can't hurt to add that kind of experience to what was otherwise a young locker room.
That's right.
I mean, the average age of the Florida State roster must have gone up by like a full year just with the transfers. I mean, you're adding like 24 and 23-year-olds.
Grown men. Nice thing to have in your locker room when you're playing against all these other teams that are pretty darn large. All right, let's go to the phone line. Wes, sorry about keeping you waiting for so long, man, but we do appreciate your patience. Floor is yours.
Yes, good evening, fellas. How we doing?
Good, buddy. How are you?
Hanging in there. You guys have covered a lot. I've been listening in and out and while I was waiting, but You just can't. You can't say enough how impressive it is that what Norvell is doing in terms of flipping this roster. Just when you think we're done and they add somebody else into the portal, and I wanted to get your all's thoughts on, Malone visited this weekend and they're real high on Destin Hill. So you think there's a couple of spots, but also I think we agree they're going to try to get an offensive tackle, which I don't think their guy has hit the portal yet, maybe, and then also a defensive lineman. Is that kind of how you guys are feeling with the last few spots for this year's class?
Yeah, I think we think they have probably 3 or 4 spots left, maybe. And I think maybe they hold out for one more high school kid. I think whether maybe it's Malone, maybe it's Hill, maybe it's both. But then, yes, I think as we've talked about, I think you really do need somebody else on the defensive line that can create pressure. They know that too. It's not like we're the only ones that watch the games. They had to live those games. That's their job. That's their livelihood, being exposed every Saturday. So they definitely want to fix it, and they know they've got to get better up front. And then, I think the offensive linemen. Again, we know they like what they have, but we also know they need some bodies too. They need a guy that can come in and maybe be another Devontae Love Taylor. So they know that, and I think I would be very surprised if they don't add an offensive lineman by the time August rolls around. I mean, I know that's a long wait, but I think hopefully you get them in the next week, the way the transfer portal is going. But I think by the summer, maybe by the end of spring, if they haven't already, they will find a way to bring in one more lineman. I can't remember when Devontae Love Taylor came, when he just said he was transferred. To me, that felt like a spring thing.
He was here for spring.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we talked to him. That's right. I do think that those are the two biggest needs: is offensive line, defensive line, or maybe a rush end, if you want to call that an outside linebacker, a fox, a hunk, whatever they call them, beefcake, whatever position they're calling them. You need one more impact guy on defense up front in the front seven, in my opinion, and you need a good offensive lineman. And I think they agree with that.
Yeah.
Right, Wes?
Like the Carney kid from Illinois. If they offered him, I think he would come. It seems like there's a lot of interest, or at least him coming. I feel like there's a real buzz going on in Tallahassee. It's a transfer destination. And so in my mind, there'll be a offensive lineman go, wait a minute, I'm going down there. They got things brewing and cooking. So I'm like you. I really think we'll get somebody, just a matter of when.
It's Wes. I know we've been watching this sport for our entire lives, and Aslan's got it up right now with Owen Carney, the edge rusher, who he looked like he had some nice moments there. If he were going to come, but like it is crazy how our college football fandom works now. Where I don't know if you remember when Lou Holtz told Scott Bentley way back. He goes, "You're not making a 4-year mistake. You're making a 40-year mistake." When he chose Florida State over Notre Dame back before the '93 season, and but it's not; these aren't 4-year decisions anymore. For a lot of these guys, they are 6-month decisions. So it's not like there's a lot of pressure. Say you're an Illinois defensive end, and you're at Illinois, by the way, and you're like, man, I don't know, Florida State might not be good again next year. It's not like you're a junior or senior in high school, and you're like, man, I got to live with this decision for 4 years. If Norvell doesn't turn it around, where am I? Well, no, it's just 6 months, man. It's just changing the way that I think it changes the way these kids at schools think about their final year, obviously, because you can just get a guy for 1 year. And so a place like Florida State, which isn't an established program right now in recent memory, can still be appealing to a guy for 6 months or 8 months. And again, if he can take advantage of 2021 and double the win total, I'm not talking about tripling it. I'm not expecting to be in Miami Gardens in that spaceship stadium watching an Orange Bowl next year. But if he can double the win total, I think, again, you just start feeding off that. And I think that's why getting so many guys and so many guys that will play and contribute immediately is a huge thing for Norvell and his staff.
Yeah, I mean, they're going all in to try to make a quick improvement. I mean, if it's 6-7 wins, you get 8 maybe. I mean, you couldn't ask for much more, and that'll springboard you in to 2022 and the college or the high school kids. I mean, we've already got Travis Hunter and that other wide receiver, I think. So you do feel like it's setting up to, he's doing what he can to set himself up for success and knows he's on the clock and got to get things going. So you got to like what's been done so far.
It's impressive so far. Again, win games. That's what matters most. But so far, this has been a very encouraging offseason for him and his staff.
All right, Wes.
Did you guys? Yeah, I got one other thing. Did you guys see that we lost a quarterback today? James Blackman officially hit the portal.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice sweet, Prince.
We'll always have that comeback against Wake Forest in 17.
Hey, man, you beat the Gators in the swamp. Right. They can never take that away.
That's probably his game. I mean, he didn't throw for a ton of yards, but he played well. He won the bowl game. Not the last one he played in, but the first one he played in. And he hit Auden Tate on that long pass to beat the Demon Deacons in 17.
Yeah. And
good luck to him, by the way. Good luck to him. I hope he finds a place that he can play at and be successful.
I know if up until
FAU.
No, not FAU. Apparently, I know a few weeks ago in talking with Ira, like he had heard that he probably had found his destination. I mean, it's out west. It's not
USC.
Not 5.
Oh, so not USC.
But it's FBS level, so it sounds like somewhere like that probably would fit, his level of talent. I hope it works out for the kid, man.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. So, all right, Wes, we bid you adieu.
All right, fellas, enjoy your evening. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to Warchant. Eat your Zaxby's. Go Noles. Have a good evening, fellas.
That is right.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Wes.
Listen what the man said. Shout out to Terry moderating the phone lines for us tonight. Well done, Terry. You are you're a good man. You're a good man. Don't let those people on the message board affect you.
We are sorry, but the show has ended. Goodbye.
Let's go to some of the folks throwing dollars our way. Gator Kirk throwing $7.57, says we need swag, not brag. I believe we are comfortable with the offensive line, looking for someone that will challenge to start and not just a body.
Yep.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Agreed.
I do wonder, it's like, you got 3 tackles. I think you feel good about 2 of them, and then you have a swing. I think Darius Washington's odd man out, if you will. I don't think he starts over Robert Scott or Devontae Love-Taylor. So I mean, if you get another offensive tackle, that's really just it's almost like a luxury at this point. On the interior, everyone keeps talking about offensive tackle. I'd almost like somebody that can maybe play center, because I don't know who's. I guess Schrader's probably your top backup to Maurice Smith at center. So, and then we don't know what Brady Scott and Bavion, and if one of them sticks around with Dante Lucas, that gives you some options with Schrader and Smith, swinging back and forth at guard and center. So they're okay. They're all right offensive line, and it's a low bar that I set for them, so they're okay. But if they did get like another tackle, that'd be, I don't know what they would do if they did get somebody they felt really good about that could start day one. I guess you keep Robert Scott at right tackle. You put that transfer at left tackle, and you move Love-Taylor into guard, or it'd be a good problem to have.
What a great problem to have. An embarrassment of riches. It's like an Alabama problem to have. You take anybody that can help contribute right away, and they can possibly start. You're going to take.
Let's see here. We got a question from Kirknell. He wanted to know. What do we have to do to get some Warchant swag up and out there for purchase?
That's a good question.
We need to get more branded apparel. We need more like clever quips, like really famous sayings like Maryland's going to be a problem, and then we can put that on clothing and then sell it to the masses. But
right. What we should do though, we should have not just Warchant, Warchant apparel, but Wake Up Warchant apparel. Like even get specific. So people, when you're walking into a Publix, we could get masks. We could have masks that you can wear. But when you're walking into a Publix, people see the Wake Up Warchant, and they're like, "Yeah, man, I love those guys too. Aren't they the best?" And then you start a conversation. I feel like that's our next step is Wake Up Warchant apparel.
Oh, dude, I totally.
I don't know that we have any. Do we have swag other than the stuff we give away at our get-togethers and stuff? Which again, we'll have one sometime, and we'll give away plenty of stuff. Shane, you get whatever you want, buddy.
Yeah, we got koozies, T-shirts. I think we have some of these stickers that we do on the giveaways. Golly, the gentleman who actually signed up today, I feel bad because he actually did throw Pac-Man threw money our way.
All right, Pac-Man.
I didn't even read his question, but he did talk about meeting all these great people. He said he actually met you before the Virginia Tech game. He saw you poke your head out the window or the door, and he's like, "Hey, that's Corey Clark."
Okay, well, cool. I hope I was nice to him.
I'm sure you were. Yeah. So shout out Pac-Man352 if you still are a member after all. I neglected you and didn't even read your question after you threw dollars our way. So I apologize.
I apologize for that, Pac-Man. What can I do? I can only do what I can do. I apologize for my partner.
Well, you know what? We got phone calls, you got YouTube comments, Facebook comments.
I know you got a lot of hats, juggling a lot of things.
I even checked Warchant out, but yeah, thankfully nobody posts anything on Warchant. People keep asking about Kevon Glenn. I don't know, maybe Kevon Glenn's leaving. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about it. Not too worried about it. Best of luck if he does leave. That's what people are asking about. Ray says I need a Snickers bar. I guess because I was upset a little bit earlier. Went on a couple of rants. Sorry, Ray. I'll tone it down for you next time.
Ray's allowed to say whatever he wants.
I'm saying. That's why I popped the screen up on there. Project Dynasty, let's see here, says 2013 FSU team average nearly 3/4 of a point per snap. 2019 LSU 0.67 points per snap. FSU was the best of all time.
Booyah. Thank you, Project Dynasty. I appreciate it. Again, that's one way to judge an offense, but they were both incredible. You could probably look back and say the LSU, because of those wideouts, was probably more talented, maybe. But again, doesn't matter. That was an incredible offense. Nobody has ever operated at a level like the 2013 Florida State offense did. Nobody.
Sammy Lance says I'd get a Warchant mask. Maybe we could have like a chicken finger, Zaxby's chicken finger over the mouth, so it looks like you're eating like a chicken.
What about like my mouth over the mouth?
That could work. That could work.
Just this right here.
Oh.
Just that right there over the mask.
David Oval says, Aslan, hit me up about swag. Maybe I can help you get some good pricing on some stuff. All right, Dave. We'll see about that.
We should get that out there, man. We should have our own merch.
Yeah. And the last one, let's go Buffalo 1. Side note, why does no one seem to care about center? A few years ago, everyone was all over Everly saying it was a massive problem with offensive struggles. Yeah, man. That's what I was kind of they could use somebody that could snap. I think
they really like him, though. I think they like Maurice Smith, and he's just he'll just be a freshman again. So I think, like, theoretically, the wishful thinking, I guess, for them, they think they might have center locked up for 3 years. But you're always looking to get better, man. If there's a great one that comes along, you know who the best center they probably had was?
Clay Shepard.
Was probably Cam Irving. Like when I don't know if people I'm sure you do. None of you were young. But in 14, they were struggling a lot with running the ball because they had Irving at left tackle and they had who was that kid? Was it Hofield at center?
Well, that to your point though, Corey, I like Maurice Smith. I guess Schrader would be the next guy in line. Like if Brian Stork got hurt in Pasadena, would they have trotted out Ryan Hofield?
I have no idea. Probably. I don't know. But yeah, so then they moved Irving to center like halfway through the season, and all of a sudden Dalvin Cook had these huge lanes to run through in the middle of the line that were not there before, and Roderick Johnson was good enough out left tackle as a true freshman that the offensive line got much, much better. Yeah, you're right. Good call, Dave. Yeah. But Rodney Hudson never played it at Florida State. At least Irving played it at Florida State, I guess. But yeah, Rodney Hudson might end up being a Hall of Famer. He probably should be a Hall of Famer. He's been in the league now for 10 years, and he's a multi-time All-Pro. You hope. I mean, I know centers don't get a lot of love when it comes to Hall of Fame voting, but you got to hope if he plays 3 or 4 more years, maybe wins a ring or has a nice playoff run, that he'll get some Hall of Fame consideration.
Let's look at this all together. Let's see his oh gosh. Look at him in the league.
Look at the blue.
Look at him in the league, man. Look at our guy in the league. Let's go, Rodney.
I mean, that's remarkable what a pass blocker he is. Now I guess he struggled a little bit blocking the run, but man, he's been like an All-Pro a few times, right? And he's been on the Pro Bowl. Like I think you could say he's been the best center or one of the 2 or 3 best centers in the league for years now. And if you're one of the 2 or 3 best at your position for like half a decade or a full decade,
yes,
you should be in the Hall. That's why I think Leroy Butler should be in the Hall. He was the best safety in football. He was voted to the All-90s team. Which they took very seriously, that voting, and he was an all-decade member, and he played the entire 90s with the Packers. He should be in the Hall of Fame too. And the college football guys should maybe be in the Hall of Fame. Maybe Peter Warrick will get in there one day. Maybe Marvin Jones. They'll deem him worthy of induction into the College Football Hall of Fame. So hopefully, a lot of Florida State guys will be getting inducted here in the next few years.
Right. Everything in life's about timing. Ray Pereira proving that axiom down, slipping in right in the last second. Horn gang.
Dollar bills, y'all.
$50 from Ray as we wind things down on the show tonight. Thanks, Ray. Appreciate you, man. He says he's glad Norvell has turned over the roster. It's what needed to happen. Looking forward to more heart and grit. Finger waggers are now gone.
Let's hope. Well, no, I don't mind a finger wag if you just broke up a 4th down pass to win the game. Yeah. Wag them all. Wag all 10 of them. Wag your toes. I don't care. Wag literally any appendage you want. Just do some wagging. But before that, if you're down by 40 points, cut it out. Look, I'm going to probably do a story this week because the roster has been overturned to a point that I don't think any of us could have foreseen. 12 months. What has he been the coach for? 13 months? And literally, the roster's 50% different.
Well, it's a 2 deep as well, and that's what that's what matters.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 8 new guys, plus you take in Love, Taylor, Dotson. I mean, you're talking about, almost a third of the 2 deep will be transfer guys or transfers. So that's pretty remarkable. Good work, Mike. Now go win some games.
Yeah. All right. Shout out to Ray.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you very much.
Ray, Gator Kirk, Redbeard, Khalil Young, Drew Singletary, Mark Adamczyk, Pac-Man 352, Kirk Noles, Shane Kirkley. We do appreciate it. Everybody who commented on here, everyone who watched on Instagram, on Facebook, on YouTube. His Corey's all up in your face. We'll be back with the Thursday program of Renegade Express. All your questions over on the Tribal Council. We already have, I think, about a baker's dozen, so it might be a long show. But we'll do it because that's what we do. And then Wednesday, as you're listening to this on the podcast, Florida State hopefully playing a basketball game. So that'll be part of the wrap-up when we do our Thursday program. We are done. Corey, great job as always, friend.
No doubt. You too. Hey, you too, buddy. You too. You did it.
All right. Warchant, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Check it out. Warchant 30 is the promo code, and Zaxby's. Go eat there. Probably